Hi everyone. What you see in front of you are some notes from the comments from the cards from the professional development a week ago, last Wednesday. Casey and I sat down and looked through this and came up with some plans on moving forward. Before we talk about those, there's a couple things I want to mention. I read through all of the cards and it was extremely interesting, the comments made about what affected different instructors in their learning experience. If anyone else is interested in looking through those and reading through them, I have all the cards. I have them in the CETL room, and if you want to get a hold of those and look through them, either there in your office, take them home, bring them back, or whatever, just let me know. Now, I am going to make some comments on what you see in front of you right here. So, here are some items. Flipped, okay, if we take a look here at the flipped information, we realize that we might have gone a little fast on that. I know some people want a little more information. We should have maybe slowed down. Also, are there some links to the YouTube stuff? So regarding all three of those things, and the same idea with some more smaller groups in labs for hands-on, we're going to look at doing that. We're going to, I'll talk to Doug, we'll maybe get you some links to some things we're doing, and maybe some other instructors that want to share a couple things they're doing video-wise. We're going to work on approaching that. I did a flip session last year. I can reintroduce the link to that if you want to go back, and there's just some short pieces there. There's lots of video on YouTube about flip. So we're going to follow up with that, and we're going to follow up with some small group stuff as we go along here. Okay? Casey, she's going to look at, she's been working quite a bit on doing some videos of her own, and she's going to follow up with a little bit of a hands-on handout type. Some people said handouts would have helped, and so she's going to look at putting together a little handout on managing video, and I think she's going to talk a little bit not only on explain everything, but maybe talk about Panopto. There's different ways to approach this, and some might be easier than others, and we'll look for little time blocks along the way where we can spend a half hour, 45 minutes with one person or a small group and just get their feet wet and get them going. In terms of explain everything, I'm working currently on getting it on a number of those iPads that we can check out. And as soon as I have it loaded on them, I will let everybody know, and then we'll look at getting at those. Okay? The next thing, grit. We saw some good comments about that. I am going to get some information about Daniel Pink. If you haven't followed anything he does, he believes in intrinsic motivation. And NIACC-Dirksen, I didn't write it all out there. He has lots of information on flow. He actually has a book that's pretty short, easy read, Good Business by NIACC-Dirksen. And it's really interesting. And a number of other areas of things I've read, whether it's Malcolm Gladwell and so forth, they refer to NIACC-Dirksen. The couple other things in general, a little long. We need to keep moving, and I think, yeah, we even thought of this in the hindsight. We should have had some snacks going into the last session, and maybe not quite so long between sessions. A couple sessions we probably could cut down a little bit. Even though it was action-packed afternoon, it was a little bit long. We had one or two comments about splitting it over a few days, and then we had some other people, maybe less sessions per time. They thought the variety was good. I know we had lots of comments about it being faculty-driven, so we really appreciate those. So we'll look in the future of maybe how to adjust a little bit on some of those things. You know, it's hard to serve everybody's needs, but we'll work on it. Now, there was this, and I understand this, sometimes I'm guilty of not being sympathetic to technology needs of some people. Not everybody's at the same place. And when I did the TED Ed part, I don't think I explained leading into that. I assumed too much. It was a little confusing. People didn't say what use was that, so I saw the word confusion. Also, is it time consuming to create them? It depends on how much you do. I watched one the other night that has to do with the brain and how the brain organizes information, and it was all about getting your rest in versus staying up and cramming. And it, of course, gave all these reasons of why you're better off getting a good night's sleep, because the brain regenerates itself while it's sleeping. It does a great job of doing that, talking about, I believe it's called the hippocampus and so forth. And it's only 7 minutes. And then you answer the questions. And, you know, I spent maybe 10, 12 minutes on the whole thing, and I really think I've learned a lot from it. So I'm going to send you a link to that one. You can experiment with it, and it's one of those, if you like it, you can incorporate it in what you're doing. So you don't have to necessarily create all the videos either. You can use what's already out there. All right. I think I'm hit almost everything. We're going to redo some sessions. I'm going to do the file management again. I'll get a time, and I'll try to find a time that's good for everybody, or at least as many people as we can. Maybe I'll record this one. The Google numbers, if you have ideas, I can help you with some of that. And Casey's going to work on some question answers of how do you manage fears of technology. She's going to put some lists together. And if anybody has ideas, send them to Casey. Flipped. A and P, I think that there are a lot of cool things you could do flip-wise of A and P. So I'd be willing to take the challenge of meeting with, I assume maybe the nursing area, and talking about, you know, looking for some stuff, where could they look, and how you could tie in some pre-viewed videos and then be able to do more hands-on stuff in class. So that'd be great. All right, 7 minutes. I'm going to close it up. Questions, make sure you get a hold of myself, Mike Dirksen, or Casey Larson.